And our team tonight looking at every angle. Joe Torres and Tanya Rivero are also here with us in the studio.
So much reaction, including from Donald Trump, which shows just how our divided country continues to be just that. We're going to begin with Joe and the historic developments tonight.
Bill and Shada, you just talked about this. The timing is so critical here. Consider 4 weeks from tomorrow, the Democratic National Convention gets underway in Chicago. 106 days from now, voters across America will cast their presidential ballot. But today, the current resident of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the man with millions of supporters in every state in the union, realized the rigors and demands of a presidential campaign are simply too much to bear. So, in the race for the White House, Joe Biden is out. President Joe Biden dropped the bombshell announcement on social media at 1:46 Sunday afternoon. "I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country," wrote the 81-year-old commander-in-chief, "for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term." His decision and sudden reversal about staying in the race officially ended his re-election bid. Before Capitol Hill lawmakers, campaign strategists, and Democratic Party leaders could ask the predictable follow-up question about who should top the ticket in November, Biden gave them his answer. "Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this." President Biden told the vice president about his decision moments before he went public, and Kamala Harris followed her boss's social media declaration with a post of her own. "I am honored to have the president's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win this nomination." The very same high-profile Democrats who urged Mr. Biden to abandon his quest for another 4 years in the Oval Office quickly issued words of presidential praise following the announcement. "America is a better place today because President Joe Biden has led us with intellect, grace, and dignity. We are forever grateful," wrote New Yorker and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Another New Yorker, Biden's longtime friend and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, wrote, "Joe Biden has not only been a great president and a great legislative leader, but he is a truly amazing human being. His decision, of course, was not easy, but he once again put his country, his party, and our future first." What Jeffries, Schumer, and former President Barack Obama did not say in their statements is just as revealing as what they did say. They offered no endorsement of Kamala Harris as the Democratic presidential nominee. As for President Biden's now former opponent, "Crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president," wrote former President Donald Trump, "and is certainly not fit to serve, and never was. We will suffer greatly because of his presidency, but we will remedy the damage he has done very quickly." Now, in his interview 2 weeks ago with ABC's George Stephanopoulos, you guys might remember this, Biden told Americans, "If the Lord Almighty came down and said, 'Joe, get out of the race,' I'd get out of the race." Well, apparently Mr. Biden had a heavenly visitor, and he's the only one who saw him. Bill and Sade.
All right. Thank you, Joe. The endorsement by President Biden of his number 2, Kamala Harris, to become the new presidential candidate was not much of a surprise.
Yeah, but Vice President Harris, not at all a sure thing to succeed Mr. Biden as a Democrat selection to run against Mr. Trump. And as Joe mentioned, some of the party's biggest names have not yet endorsed anyone to take President Biden's spot on the ballot.
Tonight, anchor